Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm down in London this weekend for HYROX tomorrow. I've already spoken about it enough. I was meant to be doing a bit of like a HYROX video this week, but work's just been so busy, I've not really trained properly, which I'm a bit worried about, but I'm just gonna take it easy tomorrow, see like how I get on. The goal is probably just finishing. But today we're heading down to Brighton actually, so we're leaving London. We got here last night, staying at my friend's house while she's away in America. And we're heading down to Brighton to view the flat. I gave them a call this week and they obviously said they can't show us our actual flat, but they can show us around the building, maybe get us into like a show flat. So we're gonna go down, have a bit of a nosy, see. Obviously if we like the area, that's a concern because we've already put the holding deposit down. We've been to Brighton a couple of times, we both really like it. We do sort of know where it is, but not actually visited the building obviously. So we're gonna go down, check that out, have a little bit of a mooch around Brighton, so I'll bring you along for that. And then yeah, tomorrow is HYROX. I don't even want to think about it at the moment, so I'll speak to you guys when we're back down in Brighton. Good morning everyone. Today is now Sunday, it's HYROX day. The time is 8:30, we're starting at 11:10, so we've got a little bit of time. I've heard you're meant to be there like 90 minutes before and we're staying over in like East London and it's in Hammersmith at the Olympia, so we've got a little bit of a journey. So we're gonna head off now. I'm a bit nervous. I've been training for it obviously, but like I don't think you should do like a full, maybe you should do a full simulation before, but it's sort of like I've not done everything in one circuit, so we're going to see how it goes. I'm not really aiming for a time, I just want to complete it, hopefully not have too many penalties, but there's things like sledge pull that I haven't been able to practice, and so I'm just worried I'm not going to be able to do it because I've not been training the upper body either. I've seen videos and people are just like using their legs and walking backwards and like pulling the rope, so I'm hoping maybe I could do that, but if I have to like pull the rope there's not a single chance because I think it's 150 kg. And that's just not happening. So I'll keep you guys posted. I'm gonna give my phone to my friend Hannah and she will try and capture some clips. God knows what I'm gonna look like. But yeah, I'll speak to you afterwards. I saw that Gymshark are doing something with like free hoodies after as well. So I'm gonna try and get myself a free hoodie and then, yeah, probably just have like a chilled afternoon in London. Depending on what time we finish, I'm thinking it's gonna be like an hour 40 to like 2 hours. But yeah, we'll see. Hello, hello. So it's actually a couple of days since HYROX. It's Tuesday today. HYROX was on Sunday. We had the bank holiday weekend in London, which was so nice. You would have seen some clips, and we went out into Marylebone and we went out for a nice little brunch, which was a really nice chilled day. But we decided to stay down an extra day on the Monday night because all of the trains were just messed up. I think it was some kind of rail replacement work, and it was going to take us like 5-6 hours to get home. So luckily with my friend being in America, we could just stay at her apartment, so it's really handy. So we got back earlier this afternoon, and I thought I might just like speak to you now and do like a formal sit down chat about HYROX, the absolute hell that it was, and sort of just like our weekend anyways. So I think for this video I'm going to do a bit of debrief because there's a couple of topics obviously. So there's Brighton, which we went down to on Saturday, and it was gorgeous. It was like a nice sunny day. The trains were absolutely rammed. I feel like everyone in London had the same idea of heading down to Brighton. Now I've seen a lot online about doing the Seven Sisters Cliff hike, and I think everyone was sort of going down to Sussex for that sort of route. So the trains were rammed. I'm hoping that when we live down there it's not going to be that bad, but anytime I have to be down to Brighton, you can basically never get a seat, which is a bit concerning, but I'm sure we'll get used to the busyness. So Brighton itself was gorgeous. We went to the lanes, did a bit of mooching, had this really nice lunch. We got this banoffee tart, which was just life-changing. I was like, can't wait to move there just to have that basically every single weekend. And we went to see our apartment itself. I didn't get to take any videos of it, and I'll tell you why, it was not a good experience. So the apartment itself was lovely. We really loved like all the finishes, but from the get-go, it was just a bit of a bad experience. They hadn't actually booked us in on the system, even though I'd called up in the week earlier for them to squeeze us in. I think I told you this earlier on the vlog. And yeah, we sort of got there and everyone was a bit confused why we were there. And the concierge had someone moving in within like 10 minutes. And so he was like, I can give you like a 5-minute tour of the building and the apartment now, which was a bit useless, and it sort of just like put us off a little bit. We had a look around. All of the spaces were really nice. We loved the actual apartment. It was much bigger than we thought it was going to be, but we could only see a 1-bed flat which was being moved into within like 10 minutes, and so we couldn't really spend too long in there, and I didn't want to take like videos, and because we were like whizzing around the building, it just wasn't really the time, so it was really frustrating because I wanted to capture some content for you guys. Afterwards we just went for like a nice little walk around the park nearby, and so we could sort of see the different areas and like scope out where we'll be taking the girls for their walks and stuff like that. So all in all, it was really nice. We didn't actually manage to get to the beach because we were in a bit of a rush to get back to London with my friend doing her opera that evening. And then also I just didn't want to like tire my legs out too much with HYROX the next day. But we managed to see quite a few things in Brighton. I managed to get this amazing matcha, which I was like, that's the spot sorted. Although there were a lot of matcha recommendations on TikTok when I was looking, so I've got a lot to try, and yeah, it was just really nice. So yeah, now we're just waiting for the tenancy agreement to come through, and then we'll get that all signed and hopefully be moving in a couple of weeks, which just seems so soon. I'm now just like a bit stressed because it seems like it's come so soon, but also like if you know anything about living in London and finding a flat and stuff in there, like it's just hell, and anything available in London is within like 2 weeks time, so it's sort of what I've been used to. I think because we found the apartment quite a while ago, and they couldn't commence referencing until like 3 weeks before, it just now seems a bit sudden, but like we are fully prepared, and so just trying to get rid of those like nerves and yeah, just lean into it being more excitement. But that was Brighton, and that was on Saturday, and then Sunday was the day of the race. So HYROX itself was tough. I knew it was going to be tough going into it, and I had put a lot of effort into training. I don't know how good my training plan was. I got it from ChatGPT and just asked it to like build me a 10-week plan. The issue was I had a Shreddy plan, if anyone knows like Grace Beverly and her fitness app, and they did a HYROX workout on there, but my plan was 13 weeks and I actually only had 10 weeks until HYROX when I first signed up. So I had to scrap that out of the window, get ChatGPT to try to make me a plan, and yeah, it was definitely hard. I felt like I was prepared, but I just knew that I wasn't prepared to get like an amazing time. My whole aim was just to finish the course. And so if you don't know what a HYROX is, it's basically I call it like an adult obstacle course. It's like 8 different stations. I think actually it might just be better if I sort of like stick the workout in here. So you have 8 different stations, things like the ski erg and rowing and oh god, it's like blocked out of my mind, like sledge push and pull, and just like different kind of functional strength activities, and then between each one of those you run a kilometer. And I am quite into running, not like massively, I think I've said this before, but like I dabble with like a 10k, and so I was happy with the running side. I was like, yeah, that'll be fine, I'll just smash through it, and then I can just like struggle through the different strengths. So I'm just gonna like speak about the different stations. I don't know if this is gonna interest so many people, but also if you've signed up for your first HYROX, I hope this is a useful like perspective on it. But ski erg, my plan from ChatGPT hadn't done any ski erg practice, and I got like 2 weeks before HYROX and was like, this doesn't seem right. And I was doing other things like dumbbell thrusters and stuff to like build shoulder strength, but yeah, I hadn't practiced on the ski erg. And it got to a couple of weeks and I was like, I might need to like force it in. So I sort of refreshed the plan. It then was like quite ski erg focused, but I never then did 1,000 meters all in one, which is obviously the distance. And so on the day I did it, and it really wasn't actually too difficult. I took it quite slowly. Everyone next to me, like for all of the strength exercises, I was one of the last people in the pen, but I managed to just do it continuously. I felt like I was going somewhat fast. I'm not really too sure what my speed times were. I might have a look. So, I mean, it's a good thing with HYROX, but also like a bit just, I don't quite like it. You can see your results online. And so for the ski erg, I did it in 4 minutes 58, which to be fair, I'm not too upset about. I know some people go crazy and they could do it in like 3 minutes, but it's just, I knew that I couldn't do the ski erg too fast. And so my whole plan was just like run quite fast and then just like take it as I can with the different strength exercises. So then the next thing up was the sledge push. And my gym doesn't actually have a like track. Not many gyms do, but we didn't have a sledge to practice on. So for a little while I was like putting weights on top of boxes and like pushing the box, but because it was on laminate, like it's quite hard to gauge the weight because obviously you don't know what the weight of the box is that I was practicing with, and then also like the friction underneath. So I had been practicing a little bit, but me and my boyfriend did a couple of practice runs in the warm-up area and I was like, this isn't too bad. Got onto the sledge push and it was also hell. Managed to do that though, and then sledge pull was next, and around this point I started feeling quite sick, so I said to my friend, there's like one video and I'm just running past her being like, no. So before the race, I didn't really have a massive amount to eat. We had like a banana and porridge, but because I'm not a big breakfast person and our race time was like in the morning, I didn't really know what to fuel myself with. So then I had an espresso, and I also took one of those energy gels like a few minutes before the race. I know that people get them for marathons, and I had seen a couple of people doing them on Instagram for like how to fuel body. So I picked some up whilst I was in Brighton and took it before running, got to like the second or third lap, and I just felt so sick. And I don't know if it was just like the intensity of everything, but I never really feel too sick. Sometimes as well though, actually now thinking about it, I do feel sick when I have like a coffee in the morning on an empty stomach, but I had eaten, so I'm not too sure. So I was trying to push past that. I got onto the sledge pull and I knew that that was going to take me a while because I hadn't practiced that in the slightest. And lots of people were saying it's more to do with like your legs and sort of like holding onto the rope and walking backwards with it. But I was most worried because I hadn't trained arms in maybe like 10, 11 weeks properly. And so I was thinking with the sledge pull, it's a lot of like pulling the rope. But I had watched some technique videos the night before, and actually lots of people were just sort of like walking backwards with it. So I was really trying to take my time with it and just like doing lots of slow walks. I remember the ref in the station was so helpful. He was like, just like, you can do it in 4 more, and he was like 3 more, 2 more. And he was just like really getting me motivated. So that was great. I then pushed past the sickness. I'm just looking at my times. So I did sledge pull in like 6 minute 36. So not the fastest either. But I then did my next lap. I don't really know what my running stats were. So running paces, my average round was 4 minutes 57. So I'm like, that's not awful. So then after the sledge pull, we had burpee board jumps. And I was not looking forward to this in the slightest. I'd practiced burpees, but only really gotten up to like 60 meters, and you have to do 80 meters. And obviously when you're doing it in the gym, you get like a break, but I was more worried, if you can see in the video, like you get people behind you, and I didn't want to be holding someone up behind me, so the pressure was really on. Around this point though, me and my boyfriend had synced up, so we were in the same start wave, and he's a lot faster with, I guess, like the sledge push and pull because he's a lot stronger than me, but I practiced running more, so we were sort of syncing up at the different stations. So luckily I managed to get behind him on the burpee board jump so that neither of us really had like, actually I had the pressure, he didn't, so I did him a favour. But burpees were hell. We got halfway through it and the ref was really lovely again there, and she was like, just stop, have a break, like just chat to me. She was like, no one ever sits here for a while, so like everyone just leaves and comes and goes. So we sat there, had a chat to her, which would be why my burpees took me 8 minutes. But I definitely needed a bit of that break. My friend was also there and she was sort of just talking me through it. And honestly, I was nervous about having people come to watch, because if you've seen any kind of HYROX event before, you're sort of, the spectators are at the pen, and so like if I was sat here rowing in front of you, honestly it'd be like you're you watching this. Like, I would just be rowing, and so I didn't want like my family there or like a big group of friends and stuff, because I would have been like a bit embarrassed, and I just didn't want that pressure. So I just had one friend come to watch, which was honestly just like enough. It got me and Ty both through it. She was cheering us on. She was a great spectator, so shout out to you, Hannah, because I know you'll be watching this as well. But yeah, burpees were awful. I did manage to get through them in the end, and then next up was rowing, and that was sort of what I was looking forward to, because in my mind, that was a break. It was really like the main arm-focused exercise, and so I was looking forward to that. I think this is around the 5th kilometre, and then I started getting cramp, which I've never had before in my life, and so it started on my left calf, and then I was just trying to like walk it off, like stretch as I was walking. Everyone was like really nice spectating, was like cheering me on, and they were like, come on. So then, you know, you got like the pressure of just forcing yourself to run. And I was like, well, if I'm running on a cramp, I'm gonna give myself like some kind of injury. So then I was like hobbling along, walked it off a bit, started running, and then hit my like right calf. This is quite niche, but when I run, I usually just stick on the Beyonce Renaissance album, just like, and play it through. And so I was sort of just singing to myself Beyonce, because the music there is quite intense. And so I was just like singing to myself Beyonce as I was running around. And I just sort of ran through the pain. It was awful, and like it started getting worse and worse. But I managed to have a bit of a break with the rowing, and the guy next to me, bless him, was like, come on, like you're doing great, whilst we're both on the rowing machine. I didn't feel too bad with the rowing, to be honest. That was fine. I sort of just was taking my time with it again. I was like, the main goal is just to finish. And so I did that in 5 minutes 24 apparently, which I don't know. I'm like looking at these stats like, I just don't know how people get in under an hour for a HYROX. Like 5 minutes 30 to me, I'm like, well, that's fine. Like I'm quite happy with that. And then did another kilometre, was still suffering with cramp. A lot of people say to like run in the rock zone, which will be like the area as you come into the station section. And honestly, I was just having a break. I was having like a water from each station. I was having a little Red Bull. And then like I was just walking a little bit, which I was a bit let down by, because I had practiced so much running. I'd run a lot more higher volumes than what I needed to for HYROX. So HYROX is 8 kilometre, but I'd been practicing like with 10Ks and 12Ks. And so I sort of thought like, I'm definitely going to be able to run a kilometre with a break of like an exercise in between it, rather than just like, if I was able to do a 12K continuously, like surely I'd be able to just do a 1K with a little exercise. Well, it's not really a little exercise, but I carried on. Next was farmer's carry. I was looking forward to that as well, because I was like, this is not too bad, like just hold them, just walk. I had like a little break halfway through, managed to do that around 3 minutes, and then we got into sandbag lunges. And sandbag lunges, I knew going into it as well. I don't know, I'm saying this about every different station, but I think it was sandbag lunges, ski erg I was quite intimidated by, and then the burpees, like basically just anything that I was like having to squat or like push. I don't know, because then I'm going to say sledge push was quite daunting as well, but all the things that I hadn't really practiced. My gym was quite good with having sandbags, but just not really the space to do the lunges. And so I had practiced a lot. I managed to get that in around 7 minutes. And then I had my last kilometre, and then it was wall balls. And wall balls, I thought were going to be a breeze, if I'm honest. I'd practiced them a lot, especially on tired legs, which is what people say to do. And yeah, I was breaking them up into like segments of 50 when I was practicing, and I had done 100 wall balls before. I don't know if it's because they were so high, but obviously as well, my legs were so fatigued at this point, and my ref was just like, she was on me, which I did appreciate, but I was just like, give me a break. I was trying to break it up into segments of 10, which is what everyone says to do, but it just wasn't working for me. I missed so many. I think I had something like 16 failures. And the ref was really lovely. My friend was behind me. She told the ref my name. So like the ref was like, come on, Jake. And I stopped halfway through, because I didn't know if, with the amount of failures I had, if I was going to get a penalty for it. And she was like, if you can talk to me, then you can carry on. And I thought, no, like, I need a break. And yeah, I feel like if I was just doing the wall balls by myself, I would have been fine. And the pressure of having the finish line right there, I was like, I did just want to get through it. And a couple of times I was throwing the wall ball, and it was going too high, and then that still didn't count. And I was like, I'm just wasting energy here. I think wall balls were honestly like my lowest point. After that, I just wanted to cry. Like, it was so stressful. I felt like really claustrophobic almost, in that like the finish line was there. I didn't feel like I could physically finish the wall balls. And then also I didn't want a penalty, and I had everyone cheering me on, and like it was all hyped up. And yeah, I felt really a bit trapped, I think, during wall balls, and I was just trying to push through. I did manage to do it in 10 minutes, and then yeah, got to the end. And honestly, I got to the end, and when I've seen videos of people just like lying on the floor and collapsing, I'm just like, you can't be that exhausted. It can't be that bad. And so I got to the end, honestly, just like lay down on the floor. I was propped up, to be fair, so I wasn't too dramatic. And so I was just laying down with my back against the wall. And then, yeah, Ty was doing the wall balls whilst, like, after I just finished. So I beat him, which was like a great achievement for me. And then I went and just like chilled out. They have like these deck chairs, and honestly, I just wanted to cry. I was so exhausted. And then you have to go and get your photo taken at the end. And honestly, I don't want this photo to ever see the light of day. I debate putting it in here, but it's just not worth it. I think just for my own self-esteem, I can't put it in here. But yeah, you have to go and get your photo taken afterwards, and it's quite a humiliating process, I'd say. Overall, I was really glad that I did manage to do it. So my time in the end was 1 minute 47. I was on my last lap of running, and I was at like, I looked at my watch and I was maybe like an hour 38 or something, and I was like, great, like I'm going to be able to do this in under an hour 45, which was sort of like in my head my own goal. I had said 2 hours, but I was going to be really happy with myself if I did get it in under an hour and 45. So then when I was doing the wall balls and I felt so trapped, I was like, for goodness sake, I'm not going to do it. I got through at 1 hour 47, which I still think is like, is good for like my first HYROX, and for someone that hasn't really trained so much. Like when I was there, everyone's running around topless with all these muscles, and honestly, when I do my bicep curls, I'm doing like 10 kg, so if I was able to like actually finish, I was happy. And yeah, overall I would say it was really fun. It was like a great challenge. I haven't really done any kind of physical challenges before other than running the 5k in Hackney, and so it was like nice to have something to work towards. I don't think I've got like the HYROX bug where everyone wants to just like keep going. It would be nice to go and do maybe like a doubles of Ty and see what time we get, and also like try to beat myself maybe with a singles. I just don't think anytime soon. So I hope that's been helpful for anyone that's maybe curious about HYROX or has like their first race coming up. I don't know if it's going to be too informative, but maybe that was just helpful as like an honest opinion on the race and what to prepare for. I would say now that I would do a lot more lunges. I would still train legs even more. Even though after like every day of my training plan, I was just exhausted and like my legs were just so sore constantly, and I was trying to have so many protein shakes and so much protein to try to help my legs heal. But yeah, I think you just still have to keep training on tired legs. Actually, after the race, my legs felt like jelly. So we queued up for one of the Gymshark hoodies. I think I put some clips in as well. So Gymshark set up like a little laundrette almost, and you would go in with like a token, get a free hoodie or a jumper, and they would sew your patch onto it. I think I've got some videos of that, so hopefully that's in the vlog. I just got like a big black hoodie, which yeah, that was just like a really nice way to keep my patch and like have something of it. And I see a lot of people with the Built for Athletes backpacks, and it has like a big Velcro section where people sort of collect their HYROX patches and other little symbols, but I don't really wear like a gym bag, or I just have like a little Jack Wheels backpack which I got for my 18th birthday. It was nice that they had something organised for that, and also I wear a lot of Gymshark clothes that you would have seen anyway. After HYROX, so that evening we honestly just like stumbled back to my friend's apartment, ordered the Wagamamas, and we just crashed. We both fell asleep at like 5 o'clock, woke up at like 8, and then was maybe awake for another hour, and then just went back to bed. And the next day, the pain, I cannot explain it. So that was when we went for a nice little mooch around Marylebone and went out for brunch, and we honestly walked to the train station. I think it was maybe like a 12-minute walk, and I was like, I can't stay out for long. My legs were just killing me, and they've only gotten worse. So today, I think people say like day 2 of DOMS is the worst, which is what I have today, and I'm honestly just like taking ibuprofen and trying to get through it and just doing minimal walking. When we take the dogs out, I'm just throwing the ball for them tonight. I will not be doing any running about. But yeah, I hope this has been helpful for anyone that's signing up for a HYROX or is maybe interested in a first time experience. I hope I haven't put anyone off. Like, it was good to do, I just suffered through it. And I think everyone's suffering really. Obviously the whole knack is just like keep going and getting a better time, but yeah, I'm not in a rush to go back. It would be nice to go back and compete against myself, but maybe in like a year's time, not anytime soon. But yeah, I've got a bit of a Gymshark order actually that I'm going to sit down and show you guys. I haven't done try on hauls before, but they had this new range come out. It was almost, I didn't know if it was in their Onyx collection, which they've just released. It was like this limited edition one, but it's like some nice long sleeve blue tops. I'm a sucker for a blue top for the gym. I'm obviously wearing navy. I feel like in every video I'll probably be wearing a blue top, but yeah, they had some nice blue tops, and then they also had like some beige ones and a grey one, so I'm going to try them on for you. If anyone is interested in gym clothes, They're a bit like muscly fit, which I'm not a big fan of. I like nice loose gym clothes. I also don't want anything like sticking to me. So that's my main concern. I ordered them all in like quite a few different sizes. So hopefully if I've like sized up, it won't be so sticky onto me. But yeah, I'll try them on for you guys now. Okay, so this is the first top. It's a little bit like long. I don't know how you're meant to wear these. I like my blue tops like white shorts, but it's not too like compression-y. It's a muscular, is it muscular? Muscly fit. And I don't really ever feel too confident in those. But this, yeah, it's not like too bad. And I'm like, if I get toned down for summer, I feel like it's quite cute. It's just the only issue is it's really thick. And so I feel like, I thought this would be good for like running outside maybe, but now I'm worried I'm like absolutely not. And my gym aircon isn't actually that good. So I'm wondering realistically if I'm going to wear it. It probably isn't going to stay warm up in Manchester anyway. So I'll probably need a warm top for the gym anyway. But I've got the other colours. And this is a small. I thought if I went for like a medium, maybe I'm worried it'd be longer than like there's already all this excess material. So I'm not too sure. But I think I quite like this. I'm going to wear it and hopefully like gain more confidence wearing it. From aware, this is quite a boring try on haul because I basically bought the same top but just in different sizes and colours. But I also quite like this. It feels the exact same. I think the brown is like more flattering almost, and I don't really have any gym tops this colour, so I think I might keep this as well, which I'm now getting a bit worried because I've just bought them in the short sleeve versions and I sort of think I want to keep everything. So this is obviously just the short sleeve version of the blue top that I tried on first. I can't remember, this is a medium actually. It feels better around the body, and so maybe medium's the way to go. I'm not too sure. Don't know. Yeah, I feel like I prefer a medium, but these are both, the long sleeve ones are both small, so it might be worth sending this back and getting a medium because that's probably the same length anyway. It's maybe a little bit longer, so I mean I'm gonna fold them up anyway, but I feel like, yeah, maybe medium's the way to go. Oh, for goodness sake. Luckily the other short sleeves I got were mediums. Okay, I think this is the last one I'll show you because the other ones are just repeating itself, but this is the brown colour. I do really like this as well, but I think I prefer the grey. It's basically the same, but the grey is obviously just a little bit cooler, but I do really like the brown, and so I don't know what to do here. I might try and see if like Tyre wants one of the tops and then I can steal it from him, because there's no way I don't need to keep like all colourways. But this is also, I feel like this one makes me look nice and tanned. I have to keep crouching to speak to you guys, but yeah, overall really like the tops. I was worried obviously about them being quite muscly, but this isn't really too bad. My only concern would be if I wash them and they shrink even more, but I mean, it's a risk I'm willing to take. I saw someone post about this range online and was like, oh, like just buy your size, and if you're not that secure, just like lose weight and like get the six pack to feel better in it. And I was like, it's a little bit easier said than done. So maybe that's the mentality I need. So those were the pieces. I'll pop the link down in the description for in case anyone wants to pick up some gym tops. I don't know if I'm going to send any of them back. I'll obviously send back the ones that don't fit me. I quite liked all of them. So I need to sort of go math and justify that to myself now. But yeah, I think that probably wraps it up really for this vlog. I don't want it being too fitness heavy, but I'm aware it has been obviously as like a first HYROX vlog anyway. So thank you guys for watching. I'll be back next weekend with a new vlog. I think it's probably going to be a bit more of a chilled, getting ready for moving, like a bit of homeware shopping, bits like that. And also we need to go to the garden centre next weekend to basically redo the garden before we move out. So that's going to be an adventure. Stay tuned, and I hope you guys have a lovely weekend and a nice week, and I'll speak to you next weekend. Bye.